As we pointed out yesterday, Taiwan's sewage coverage rate is only 26.76%, way less than developed countries and is even lower than some developing countries. Discharging domestic wastewater right into rivers not only causes serious pollution, but also produces foul odors, provides breeding grounds for pests, and spreads communicable diseases. This is why the sewage coverage rate is an important index in a country's competitiveness.
There are typically thick buildups in the septic tanks of these old apartments, so they smell worse and are filthier. First, we have to vacuum out all the fecal matter in the tank. Then we will bulldoze the tank, fill up the space, and finally connect the wastewater pipe to the sewage system.
Taipei City is trying to improve its sewage coverage rate. Unfortunately for construction crews, this means coming into contact with other people's waste feces. Currently, Taiwan's average sewage cover rate is only 27.67%, which means the waste matter of only some 6 million people is being treated at sewage treatment facilities. So then what happens to the waste matter of the other some 16 million people?
They rely on the septic tanks or the other wastewater treatment systems of their buildings. However, their capabilities are very limited, as Taiwan is densely populated, so pollutants within domestic wastewater are also very high. Once discharged into rivers, they will easily overwhelm the river's capacity to handle waste matter.
Clogged ditches and exposed drainage pipes are signs that a building's drainage system and septic tanks are poorly maintained.
If septic tanks don't undergo regular maintenance, they will begin to lose their efficiency, which means waste matter will directly flow into ditches. Not only will there be foul odors, the environment will become polluted as well.
And thus domestic wastewater flows into Taiwan's rivers through ditches and drains. In the past, Taipei's Danshui River and Kaohsiung's Love River were notorious for their foul odors. The government solved the problem by stopping the discharge of untreated sewage into these rivers. Unfortunately, the same cannot be done for the rest of the country's rivers. The truth is, Taiwan's sewage coverage rate just can't compare with other nations.
Since Taiwan's sewage coverage rate is only 20-something, while Europe is over 90%, we are behind by 65%. If we can improve just by 2% a year, that will still take 30 to 40 years.
With a proper sewage system, no longer will citizens be troubled by the unpleasant odor of domestic wastewater. It can also stop the propagation of pests and communicable diseases, and thus improve quality of life. This is why the IMD has listed sewage coverage as a key component to a country's overall competitiveness. Just exactly why is Taiwan struggling to raise its sewage coverage? Take this old apartment complex in Taipei, for example. The sewer worksite sits within the plot of the first-floor homes.
Before we started building sewers, it was typical for the first-floor homes to extend like this.
Building sewers typically requires the first-floor homeowners to remove the illegal additions they have built on their land.
For those who piled their personal belongings on the fire lane in the back and unwilling to cooperate, we will ask their neighbors to help persuade them, as being connected to a sewage system is better for the environment and adds value to their homes.
At first, residents were to be responsible for the cost of the sewers, but now the government is responsible for the cost. Having already spent more than nearly $9 billion, for every 1% increase in coverage, the government has to spend another $322 million.
The government allocates about $4.8 billion per year to public works, and only about $322 million of that can be allocated to sewage works. So increasing sewage coverage by 2% a year is unlikely.
Currently, for those households unwilling to be incorporated into the sewage system, the government stated that after the work has been completed in their surrounding communities, they must do so at their own expense within 6 months or face fines. And starting from 2018, the government will impose a wastewater treatment tax on every household. Still, Taiwan has a long way to go in terms of minimizing pollution to the environment.